Hey, what's going on guys? Xclusive here and welcome back to another Saturday Q&A. You guys know how this works. You guys send in the questions, I answer them using the hashtag AskXclusive. Well, I don't answer them using the hashtag, that'd be weird. You send in the questions using it. We're gonna get started. What does your family think of your career choice and do they watch your videos? I think along with anything gaming related when it comes to parents and siblings, I think they always think it's a waste of time. You know, I think I grew up with my parents and with my sister and everybody thinking that it was just a waste of time, that I was wasting my life and I was just, you know, doing what makes me happy, but obviously, like, that's not, sometimes you can't do that. You've got to focus on your future and where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do. But I think as time moved on and as I started getting paid for what I do and as I've been able to turn this into a job, I think that my friends and my family, they've kind of accepted it. You know, I know my parents definitely support me. I think my sister is on board as well. I mean, and do they watch my videos? They do. They watch it more than I think they do. I mean, some videos, I think they watch a lot more of these kind of videos. They watch a lot more of the vlogs, a lot more of the short films and the Q&As and the tag videos and challenges and that kind of stuff, compared to like maybe a Hunger Games video or some sort of gaming video. They might not watch those, but they definitely watch these, and I'm super thankful for that. I mean, I think that, like I said, once I first started, they kind of just thought it was a waste of time, you know, and that's, I think, any parent's response or friend's response, and I think over time, they've kind of gotten used to it, but they definitely support what I do. I think it just takes a little bit of time. You know, you got to prove people wrong sometimes when they think that you can't do something. I think it was actually a quote in, what movie was it? The Pursuit of Happiness, and they said, or Will Smith said, "Don't ever let someone tell you you can't do something." And I just kind of, I don't know, I've lived by that for a really long time as well, so I guess I like proving people wrong. So they definitely support me now, a lot more than they did before. If your parents hated your partner you currently loved, would you ditch or carry on despite the protests? I'm someone that when I'm in a relationship, honestly, what anybody else thinks does not matter at all. If someone doesn't like my relationship, if somebody doesn't like the person that I'm dating for whatever reason, as long as I care about them and as long as I'm happy, I don't give it doesn't matter to me at all what anybody else thinks. So I would definitely carry on despite the process. Like, if they don't like them, then that sucks for them. They're gonna have to get used to it. So that's just kind of the way I think. I mean, if I care about somebody and I love them for who they are, like, you know, nobody else can really change that. So I would definitely carry on despite the process. Nobody would be able to just tell me no and then I'd just ditch the person. That would never happen. How scary was it when you got into the hospital room? Now, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, maybe you're tuning into the channel for the first time today. I had a spinal fusion in May of 2013, which is where they fused my spine and my pelvis. So it's a pretty major back surgery. They said it was basically one right under brain surgery and like heart surgery. So it was a pretty major surgery. What was how scary was it going into the hospital room? Oh god, it was, I don't think scary really is a big enough word. I mean, I know that when I was in like the pre-op room in a sense, where they kind of just, you're kind of just laying down in the hospital bed, you're in your hospital gown and you're, you know, kind of ready to go. You're just waiting for the surgeon to give you the go-ahead, and then they wheel you into the back room and then you kind of get going. When I was just waiting, like, I think that waiting period was the most terrifying. Like, literally my whole body was shaking. I mean, I had never had a surgery before aside from this one. Like, I didn't have surgery on my teeth, on anything. Like, I've never broken a bone. So going right in for the first time of surgery was, you know, a major back surgery. I was terrified. I was beyond terrified. I mean, my life, in a sense, kind of flashed before my eyes. You know, you hear all those stories of people that, like, wake up in the middle of surgery, can't say anything or do anything, but can feel everything. Like, and I don't know if that actually happens. That obviously didn't happen. But that was just something I was terrified of. There's so many thoughts going through my head that were just completely irrational. And if you guys are going in for surgery, I hope I didn't just scare the hell out of you, because that doesn't actually happen, so don't be afraid that will. I have so many irrational thoughts sometimes when it comes to my anxiety, so I was terrified. I was beyond terrified, and I think when they started wheeling me into the actual operating room and they put me on the table, I don't know why, that was almost more relaxing. It was like more relaxing than just the waiting period. It's like, it's one of those things where you just really want to get it over with. You just want to get in. It's kind of like a band-aid, you know, instead of like just peeling it off really, really slow, you kind of just rip it off and it's done. So it was one of those things that the waiting period was just god-awful. But I mean, I got through it and, you know, we're here now. So it was definitely terrifying, but it's something that I didn't really have a choice but to get through, and we did. Now, this question is a little bit darker, and if you guys don't want to listen to it, then I completely understand, but it kind of caught my eye and I felt like it was something I needed to answer. If someone asked for advice for not hurting themselves, what would you say? Now, self-harm is one of those things that's extremely tricky to, when you're in the moment, it's very difficult to pull yourself out of it. And the reason it's so hard is because it feels almost involuntary. It feels like, you know, you kind of just go into a trance and you don't really realize what you're doing, you know, until it's almost over. So what would I say if someone asked for advice for not hurting themselves? That's so hard. I honestly, because it's different for everyone, you know, everybody's different, everybody's situation's different. and everybody, there's a different answer for everyone. But I think the main, if I had to pick like a general answer for people that are either, you know, experimenting with self-harm, if that's the right way to say that, or have experience with that, or know someone that is you know, is hurting themselves, then what would I say? I'd say that it's an urge. I mean, I used to pull my hair out of my head. I had an anxiety disorder called trichotillomania. You guys can Google it if you want. I wouldn't, but you can if you want. So I don't know if self-harm is the right word for something that I used to do, but it was kind of the same thing. It was an urge that I had, and it felt like involuntary. It felt like I had no control over it, and I just did it, and there was no control on my end being able to stop it or not. And as you guys can tell, I have a full head of hair now, you know, like I was able to get through that, and you can too. It's one of those things that it really is an urge, you know, and it's an urge that if you really focus on it and really try and fight it, it's difficult, and you won't be able to do it the first time. You probably won't be able to do it the second time or the third time, but maybe the fourth time, you know, you'll be able to realize when you're doing it, and you'll be able to stop yourself just in time, or maybe it's a little bit too late, but at least you know, at least you recognize that you were doing it. You know, it's one of those things that it just takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort into actually stopping yourself from self-harming yourself, if that was the right way to say that. I think the best way to actually get through that is probably to try and find a different outlet. You know, like when you get that urge, when you recognize that you have that urge, you know, recognize that beforehand. It's that little before aspect of it that you really need to recognize, because most of the time, if you have that urge and you just go ahead and do it, you know, you won't really realize what's happening until it's too late. But if you can recognize that you have that urge, then you can try and do something else, something different, something maybe even positive to use as a different outlet for all that stress and anxiety, and just a way to let that urge out without actually hurting yourself. So, like I said, it's different for everyone, and I can't give you a perfect answer, but it is something that you can get through. I mean, I know people that have gotten through that. I've gotten through that myself. It is definitely possible. You just really have to fight it. It's one of those things that you feel like you have no control, but I promise you do. I promise you do. You just really need to fight for it, and over time of just practicing and really fighting it, trying to, you know, release that urge in a sense in a positive outlet instead of a negative one. It takes practice, but you can definitely do it. It's possible. What is your biggest fear? Spiders. Spiders absolutely terrify me. I don't know why. I just told you a story of me going through major back surgery, like major things that have happened to me in my life, and I'm afraid of spiders. Seriously, I don't know. They're like these little 8-legged things of just terror, and literally I don't know what it is. Like, I'll kill one, and I'm not somebody that likes to capture them and let them go. I'm afraid they'll hurt me, so I usually kill them. And you know, it's like they come in on these little like revenge attacks. Like they're like all of a sudden some SWAT team that comes out from the walls and windows, and there's like 6 of them, and it's bad. It's really bad. I don't know. So spiders are just not my thing at all. So I mean, out of everything I'm afraid of, spiders definitely take the cake. How do you get away from your fears? Now this question ties right into the last question I just answered, and the reason I wanted to include this one is, how do you get away from your fears? You don't. You know, the way to get away from your fears, in a sense, the way to overcome that fear is to face it. That's literally the only way to do it. If you're afraid of skydiving, jump out of a fucking, okay, don't jump out, like make sure you're wearing a parachute. Like, don't just jump out of a you know, active plane. I wouldn't do that. But like, how do you face your fears? You just do it. You know, like if you're afraid of roller coasters, you get on a roller coaster. You know, get on 3 roller coasters. Just get on there and do it. And that fear you have is just a before aspect. Like it's just a thing you have before, like the anticipation of actually doing what you're afraid of. So if you're afraid of skydiving, you're afraid of falling, you're afraid of spiders, you're afraid of really anything, you know, you just have to face it. So if you're afraid of spiders, you know, face a spider, look at it right in its little beady eyes, and just sit there and look at it. And in my situation, I don't think I'd ever do that, but it doesn't hurt my life in such a terrible way that it's the point where I actually need to do that. But if you're afraid of heights or anything like that, just face it, you know, like face your fear and conquer it and overcome it, because it's just a fear, you know. It's one of those things that you can conquer and overcome. It's just something that you have to face. And so how do you get away from your fears? You don't. You've just gotta face it, and eventually it'll go away, and you'll kind of, you know, overcome that. How will you know if you've lived a full life? See, for me, there's a lot of things that I want to do before I die. There's a lot of things that I want to accomplish in my lifetime, you know, to the point where, like, if I've done this, I've lived a full life, you know. And there's a few different things like that, but the biggest one for me, I think, is just touching someone's life in a positive way, you know, being able to make a difference, making my life matter, you know, making my life and my presence here mean something more than just me making myself happy, you know, like actually helping someone or saving someone's life, or Even something as simple as just touching someone's life in a positive way, anything like that. If I'm able to do that, or if I've been able to do that in my lifetime, even just once, you know, someone somewhere, if I'm able to touch their life in a positive way and get them through a rough time, then I've lived a full life. That's all I could ever want, you know? As long as my life meant something, and as long as I've been able to help someone else, then that's really all I could ever ask for. Alright guys, that's all the time we've got here today, but thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to be featured in my next Q&A, all you gotta do is tweet me over on, obviously over on Twitter. If you didn't know that, then I guess we should probably back up here. But tweet me over on Twitter using the hashtag #Xclusive, and I'll see all the questions pop up, and hopefully we can feature it in the next episode. But thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this Q&A, if you guys enjoy any of my videos, please hit that like button. It really does let me know what you guys are enjoying. If you guys aren't enjoying it, if you should, you know, can a certain series and start a new one, or push this series out even stronger, let me know if you guys are liking it. Let me know some of the comments below if you guys enjoyed this series, if you guys want me to continue doing it, and if you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, I'm going to send you guys off with a question of the day. What is your biggest fear? What scares you the most out of anything in this world? Is it spiders? Is it heights? Is it falling? Is it dying? What scares you the most? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. All your guys' support means the absolute world to me, so whenever I see your guys' likes and comments and stuff like that, it really does mean a lot. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you all next time.